How do you use every single dollar that comes into your life effectively? Last week, I made a video about rich people, people who make $400,000+ a year who spend everything and then they're broke. And somebody in the comments said, well, how do you use every dollar that comes in wisely? And so I want to make this video for this person because, it's a real good question. And it's probably time that I get back to a little bit of basics. We're at a really interesting part of the market cycle. Let's get to basics. Let's set ourselves up for the future. What do you do with every dollar to do it extremely wisely? If your goal is to live and invest, not invest at any cost, not be the best investor, but how to live fueled by wise investments, it all starts with behavior. Everything I'm going to tell you is simple. It's behavioral. It's been tried and true. It's been said by millions of personal finance influencers for years. There's nothing here that's new. It's just a matter of when the right information hits your brain in the right time of your life, when you're ready to receive it, and then you're willing to act on it. This is all action. There's nothing smart here. There's nothing complicated. There's no math. You don't have to be a genius to build wealth. It's just simple behaviors done over a long period of time and at scale. So that's what we're going to talk about. 1, admission is the first step to recovery. Once you realize that most of your financial problems are your fault, you realize that most of your financial wealth can also be your fault. If you spent a bunch of money on credit cards and you pay a bunch of interest, all of that money that you spent already could be reversed and put towards the future and grow in compound interest. So it's the same behaviors. It's just instead of spending on things that aren't productive, it's to spend it on things that are productive. But we first have to get to the point where we realize it's our fault. Our problems are our fault. Life is unfair. Life is unfathomably unfair. But once you're like 25, 30, at some point, it's like the credit cards are yours. The car payments are yours. And you don't need them. They're not necessary. They're just bad financial decisions. And that's okay. So we admit that we make bad decisions, but then we admit that we can also make good decisions. That's why admission is the first step to recovery, is the first most important step. The second step is to track everything. My life changed when I put all of my accounts into a net worth tracker, which weren't many, and realized that I was broke. I was negative $40,000 in net worth. I had no money. I had no savings. I was broke. Negative net worth. I owe more than I had. I think this is most people, especially when they start. This is most people. So the most important thing you can do is get a spreadsheet and pull your accounts in there, or get a net worth tracker. I use something called Empower. If you use my affiliate link, I think both of us get $20. I'll put that in the comments. I've been using that for 10 years. A spreadsheet's just as good. I pay for no tracking apps personally, but there's plenty out there that you could do. And then the other thing is I check my bank account every single day. Every single morning when I wake up, I check my bank account. It doesn't change that super much day to day, but man, it really makes you accountable. You're like, where'd all my money go? And you're like, dude, I'm just spending it. I didn't need to do that. I'm just spending it. It just gives you a lot of accountability. So track everything. Number 3 is to pay yourself first. Age-old advice. It works, but I don't actually think of it as paying myself first. I live today, and I don't really want to pay myself. I don't want to save. I don't want to store cash. What I want to do is I want to invest in my future self. I don't pay myself. I pay future Alex. I'm 41. I pay 51-year-old Alex today. He's most important. I'm so grateful that 31-year-old Alex paid 41-year-old Alex. I'm grateful for him. He didn't pay 31-year-old Alex. He paid me, and he did a good job. And now that I know that it works, I'm actually going to do it better. So you're going to take 10 or 20% off the top line. Every dollar that comes in your bank account, you're going to take that right off the top line, and you're going to put it into an account that you can't get access to. Then you're going to pay the bills with whatever's left over. Then whatever's left over, you can spend the rest. You can blow it. It won't be much, but you can blow it. But you're going to save that 10, 20, hopefully at least 20. When you start, it's going to be low, but just try. Maybe it's 5%. Just try. Pay yourself first. Get in that habit. Behavior. Get in that habit. Live light. Number 4, live light. Lifestyle inflation is the biggest problem of Americans. We just think we all deserve too much. We really do, which we can't afford it. And so we put it on debt, and then we complain about being broke, and we say, you can't earn a living. You can't make a living here. You can't live the average life. And I don't think that's correct. I think people vastly live over their means. And so it does 2 things. 1, you end up in financial turmoil or stress, debt. Also, it's emotional baggage, right? Because now I have a car that I have to care for. And it's not just that the car has gas and insurance. It's the car that I have to now worry if the paint gets nicked. I don't want that emotional baggage of a thing that's going to depreciate that I'm not going to care about in 10 or 20 years. And certainly nobody else really cares what kind of car you drive. Clothes. Oh, I have to have this name brand. I have to have this cool clothes. Nobody cares. But it creates all this emotional baggage. It's not freedom. So our behaviors, our financial freedom is not just financial, but it's emotional. So living light solves both of those at the same time. Number 5 is to start today. Start today, because this is behavioral. And so if it's Friday and you get paid today, take 20% out, put it into that long-term savings account, and just eat it and just suffer and get used to it, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. It's going to take these small behaviors over time. So start today. Download the Empower app or whatever app you want. Monarch Money is popular. Download the apps or get a spreadsheet. Start tracking your money. Do it today. Talk to your husband, wife, spouse, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. Talk to them and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I need to get you on board. Let's start this today. These are behaviors. Nothing changes because you believe it. It changes when you act it out. If you're new at this is where your money goes step by step. First is debt. We got to get rid of the debt. Debt is paying your past self. And that's the worst. That's the worst person to pay. They're gone. They don't exist. So we got to get rid of that debt. We have to get to a place where we have zero consumer debt. The only debt that I own is debt on assets that pay cash. They pay me. That debt pays me. Consumer debt is debt that you borrow and then you pay it. No. Zero consumer debt. Once you have zero consumer debt, you get a little small nest egg. Some people say to do this first, $500 or $1,000. I mean, if you're living in debt, you're living week to week, having that little extra cash doesn't usually help that much in my experience. So really, you'll figure out how to survive. Pay the debt down. Pay that debt down. Save up a little bit of cash, a little bit. We don't want to have a lot of cash. A couple $1,000, $500, $1,000. Then once that nest egg starts to grow, we'll invest it. Investing is last. Investing is when there's an abundance of resources. When you're first starting out and there's a shortage of resources, we have to get rid of the debt. We got to get rid of the debt. We have to have a little bit of buffer. And then when they have a super abundance of strength, as Sun Tzu would say, then we attack. And the last one, the hardest one, is to be around people who share your values. It is very hard to create wealth when the people around you are making real bad decisions and a lot of times they don't want to see you get better. You're not going to change them. And they're going to ask you to do stuff that costs money that you think is a bad decision. And then you're going to be having to fight with them. And then who's going to win? Are you going to convince them or are they going to convince you? And the question then becomes if you can't convince them to be financially frugal, are you going to give it up? Financially responsible? Are you going to give it up? Or are you going to, go alone? Going alone's tough. So finding new friends. Sometimes you got to find new friends. Sometimes you just have to set new barriers for your current friendships and say, hey, I love you. I want to be friends with you, but just can't do this with you. And you will find friends who you can do stuff with that are financially minded. Not just that things don't cost money, but maybe I'll go to things where I'll go to an event or a meetup where people are talking about how to make money instead of going to things that cost money. The friend group is definitely the hardest, but it's actually not that much of a sacrifice because once you find that there's 8 billion people on planet Earth and a lot of them will be your friend, they will cherish your friendship and they will share your financial values with you and help you grow. It's actually not much of a sacrifice. It's kind of like letting go of anchors in a lot of ways. But it is hard. It is hard. I had to go through this. I was an alcoholic going to the bar 3 or 4 nights a week, getting blackout drunk. And I couldn't go to the bar and hang out with my friends and not drink. So I just had to stop going to the bar, which means I had to kind of stop hanging out with those friends. And then I found friends who wanted to buy real estate. And I like those friends just as much. And we build wealth together. It's like a really good trade. But it is the hardest step. If you do these things, these couple of super basic universal things that people have been talking about for 50 years now, personal finance, influencers and gurus and authors have been writing about these same steps over and over and over again. Nothing I've said is profound. It's just sometimes you hear it the right way. Maybe this is the right way. Or maybe if you hear it enough and you start actually acting it out, if you do these things, 100% it'll work. 100%. Everybody in the United States has a chance to build real wealth. It just takes a little bit of the right behavior, a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of understanding that you're going to live probably till you're 100. And if you're 25 or 30 or even 50, even older, and you're broke, you still got a long time to turn this around. These behaviors 100% work. They're simple. They're not complicated. They just take consistent, boring action week in and week out. It's behavioral. All right. I hope this is helpful. This worked for me. this worked for me, really worked. And I know it'll work for you. And so if it does, let me know.